got a thickie for you, chat. Not mine. Totally different. That sounded more sexual than I wanted it to. We have a big, thick one for you, chat. A nice, thick, honkin' slice of your favorite guy. Gerg. It's Gerg. We're Gerging out tonight. He's put out a lot of videos lately. This is 7 hours long. This one's called YouTube is Ruled by Shills. Critics are important. I think he's probably going to be right when he says YouTube is bad. I'm wondering if he gets into the wackadoo stuff, because I see some of the content here. You got too close to something and they're giving you the truther treatment. You put things in ways regular viewers can use your videos as a starting point to realizing history is a lie. I think it was my series about media and propaganda during the Joker film era. So he's talking about like getting demonetized and stuff on YouTube, and I think it's going to interlink with his content here. And so I'm wondering what does that do to this guy? I still am of the opinion that I would love to have a conversation with Greg. I don't think he'd love to have a conversation with me, but I would like to know, like, he claims that a lot of this is a bit, but then also gets really invested in it. So I would love to know if he's 100% full of shit all the time, because sometimes he blurs that line. But I think he truly believes crazy stuff. And I think he's using that as a smokescreen to not be like, I'm just crazy. That's okay. Anyway. Ooh. Sometimes he does like a little thing and then he mic drops into this, but we're just going into it. Okay.
YouTube used to mostly consist of organic, real creators, normal people like you and me, whom had a creative drive or a unique personality and a desire to share their content and creativity with the world.
I agree with you.
YouTube is called YouTube because the platform was supposed to be about you, the individual creator. You can upload your own videos. You can build your own audience. You can...
Ooh, Oscar, I'm interested.
...gain fame or...
Which one?
Develop infamy for your work. This platform was created for you, for us. Everything that used to make YouTube a social media platform has been stripped from the website.
Ghost Dad, have you not seen this guy? Have you not seen Armored Skeptic? Oh, no.
Over the years. And it's no longer as easy for creators to make...
Oh, wow. Okay, so Armored Skeptic is a former YouTube skeptic. So atheist guy that used to do content. I did a crossover with him back in the day. We did it on the Bible Reloaded, and he has gone a little batshit, and believes in just bananas things now, conspiracy theories involving like the electromagnetics, the magnetosphere, the fucking the apocalypse, how he's sort of connected to it. Yeah, he's out there. YouTuber of the Infinite? I don't know who that is. But he seems like a coward. Okay, if he shows up, we can see if he'll be not dumb. All right, let's let that go for a second. Don't acknowledge this, Jake. We don't want to interrupt the segment, but just... Oh, never mind. I'm acknowledging it. Fuck Poonages. Currently holding hope that it has stopped. Jesus fucking Christ, bro. All right, I am available in the Discord, waiting in voice for someone to show up in there. I will be looking at it from time to time to see if someone is there. Damn. All right, YouTube. YouTube has been a shitty place for creators for a little bit, and I agree. It's its intersection with capitalism, its desire to get things that are good for advertisers instead of just content people want to watch, which would be good for advertisers. But yeah, I mean, literally, the content people want to watch is good for advertisers. Let us have a site, but no one will.
Maintain
literally just common sense. I could run this shit, and I guarantee you, everyone, even the right wingers, would like it. Even they would like it. You just can't use some kind of language, and you can't post like fucking some crazy shit, and they would like it. They'd be like, okay, well, I'm monetized by Coke or whatever. I'm monetized by my Mike Pillow for this episode to say, that I disagree with this tax policy or whatever. Because I'm sure that's what they would do.
Or develop relationships with each other. There used to be a sense of community on this site, but that has been replaced. YouTube is bare bones now in comparison. It's not really social media anymore. It's a collection of isolated creators. Today, YouTube is almost completely ruled by industry plants, engineered celebrities, and people that have capitulated to the desires of YouTube, Google, and the entertainment industry.
Some of it, yeah. There's still a lot of people that have like an independent voice on there, but some of them have moved to like Nebula and shit to subsidize their income. But yeah.
Channels and creators that are managed by large corporations and other outside interests. Sure, channels like that have existed for a long time, like D News,
So the reason I don't work on YouTube at all now is because the work does not pay for itself. Like, this is not a viable lifestyle for me if I'm going to be making... putting that much work into a YouTube video. Like, the amount of labor I spent making those YouTube videos was so much more than I spent working at a restaurant. Like, we spent time.
TV, they've all been on YouTube for a while now. Those are obvious because they advertise their...
Dude, he's so mad specifically about this because I think he sees this as like his missed opportunity. The Francesca Ramsey MTV thing. He talks about this like vague MTV came to me thing, and he gets so mad about her.
Affiliations. They don't hide that they're managed by large corporations. But now there are more subtle industry plants, or fake YouTubers even, and managed channels on this site that don't make their connections obvious. Artificial celebrities that pretend to be normal YouTubers whom manage their own channels, but in reality get their video ideas and scripts from outside sources.
This is a thing for sure. The Jake Pauls. Some of it was them doing crazy shit. Mr. Beast jump scare. Video production is so much work. Yeah, it's so much.
I would love to do a video where I just blast and expose a ton of these fake artificial entertainers, people that are being managed and handled by an outside source. But most of my knowledge on this subject comes from personal experience. And if I tried to tell you who those people were, you'd probably just say that I'm crazy or get frustrated that I have no proof. So instead...
or get frustrated that I have no proof. So he's going to vague post? Man, I really think you should just fucking come out with it. Like, okay. Here's two reasons. Here's two good reasons. Number one, no offense. This is true for me as well. No one's really, like, got their eye on what Armored Skeptic has to say about the grifters in the space. Number two is if you make quality arguments as to why, it might work out anyway. Which would mean that the video did well and that this whole thing that you're mad about would solve itself because you would have made good content. Oof.
Instead of exposing an actual shill, I'm going to describe how they affect the site and give you an example of what a shill might look like. It's interesting how this platform has evolved over the decades.
Like, it just sounds like he has a gripe. And I mean, like, granted, like, YouTube does suck. It sucks in a lot of ways. But it sounds like he just has a gripe, you know?
Whereas in the past, someone like a Justin Bieber or a Donald Glover would
he's upset this video doesn't do better. It's like, but I can see a lot of reasons why this video doesn't do better. I know why my videos were never like 6 million view Andy shit. Like, I understand that I had my niche, but I kind of liked this. Like, can you believe I might have been a little better at editing than I put out on there? But like, I kind of liked the vibe back in the day. But you know, it is what it is. You get your pocket, man. He's not saying anything new either, right? I mean, like, It's the content, man. If your content was really, really good and engaging and like people could, I don't know, it would be good. But like, yeah, you're doing the same thing you've always done and people aren't really having fun.
Get their start online, then move on to something bigger after proving themselves. Now, lots of modern major celebrities have their own YouTube channels to complement their existing work. Yeah. People that are getting famous elsewhere, like in Hollywood, and then coming back here to YouTube to use this platform to share their own work or as a vlog to stay connected with their audience and to appear more down to earth.
Yeah, it's a social media site. We, as YouTubers, benefit from the exposure. This is so okay. So when we're using the same platform, it's totally different. We actually do what we don't benefit from is the corporatization of YouTube. That's the problem. More eyes on YouTube was fine. This was never the problem. They freaked out when PewDiePie said the gamer word. They freaked out and used it as an opportunity to consolidate money toward them and away from creators. You know, it was a we got fucked. We got fucked. Big fucked. When I tell you that my paycheck got cut in half overnight, it's fucking true. Overnight that happened. The gamer word. Yeah, he said the gamer word. And I agree he should have been like, don't say the gamer word, but as soon as that happened, you guys remember the fucking adpocalypse? Oh my god, dude. Overnight, cut my PewDiePie couldn't fucking shut the fuck up. Changed our lives. Yeah, he really did. I mean, but it wasn't just he fucking, it was going to be somebody else. But I mean, he was just the most popular. And so we really got bro-fisted, if you know. Yeah. We really got bro-fisted on that one. But it would have been someone else eventually. You know, one of their icons would have said something, you know, similarly fucked up. But yes, I mean, I agree. YouTube sucks. It's always been bad.
Along with the introduction of mainstream media outlets, as well as all of these new celebrities, Google has gone a long way to try to cater YouTube to appear more mainstream to reflect that, deleting or hiding channels that are more toxic or go against the grain. So one of the organic results of that is you're going to get a lot of normal, real YouTubers trying their best to keep up with what is considered acceptable and normal on the site.
That's a dope setup.
And in an environment like that, almost everyone's going to come off as,
look, a fucking $900 camera.
A little bit of a shill. But it's kind of wild to think about how YouTube works today. An idiot nobody, like myself, now shares a platform with pop singers and major Hollywood actors.
All right, but like, you know, share is doing a lot of work here. Like we're all at the same table. We're in the same cafeteria. We're not at the cool kids table, man.
I upload my work to the same source as Jack Black and Brie Larson. We might even upload something on the same day, and we might even share a portion of our audience with each other. But the normal idiots like me, we built up YouTube to try to prove ourselves against the mainstream entertainment industry. And now the mainstreamers have come back here to prove themselves on our platform. It's crazy that I have the potential to connect with or reach similar people, a similar audience. And in a way, I'm rubbing shoulders with them, and I'm on equal ground with these mainstream entertainers.
This is delusional. In some ways, I'm rubbing shoulders with them. You're not. This isn't, we're not in the same business. We are alternative media. We are on the outside of that edifice. Like, they can upload to YouTube, and it was bound to happen once it got popular. I mean, like, there's a reason there was ads on there. This was always going to end this way. This is how everything happens. Because we live in a capitalist hellhole. Acknowledge that. This isn't a fucking conspiracy. It's just how this fucking parasitic system works. It will rot anything that gets popular. Because it must. It must do that. It cannot be for the people. It must be for the dollar at that point. Don't you see? That's the real mind fuck, man. It's so simple. It's so obvious. Why are they like this? Or I guess in your case, the Canadian dollar. A loony or a toonie.
This might actually be a unique time in entertainment history for that reason. A brief time in history when...
Wait, these are old-ass videos. Does he even do this anymore?
Mainstream entertainers were sharing a platform with actual neckbeards. It became frustrating to a lot of creators when celebrities initially invaded YouTube, and I agree that it wasn't great news when people like Will Smith became YouTubers. It's terrible competition for those of...
I think them being in the... YouTube thing is stupid though, like the YouTube wrap-up thing when they're not YouTubers. I agree. Bet this dude thinks he's on the same level as The Rock. Man, I don't know how dudes have egos about this. I've been doing this fucking job for 12 years or some shit like that, where I've been on the internet. I have no idea how dudes get an ego about this shit. Like, oh my God, my numbers. Like, can you, I don't know, man. What is your ambition here? I'm just trying to have a good time. Have some laughs. Say my words. I don't need to be a millionaire off this shit. That'd be great. Subscribe immediately. But, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to be on the grind set. And I don't know. So I don't know why Greg has this sort of what's that word? Scorned? Like he's been scorned by the industry. It's just not what this is happening here.
Of us who depend on this platform to make our living, and it diminishes the uniqueness and the reach of YouTubers when we're overshadowed by big Hollywood names. Google is 1,000 times more likely to support and recommend an established celebrity over a regular YouTuber, but I don't really think that this is as offensive an idea as most people seem to feel. If anything, those creators kind of legitimize...
Sheesh, Dr. Hamill, 300 biddies. Markiplier is more likely to rub shoulders with these people, and that took 10 years of trying to break into Hollywood after being one of the most popular YouTubers. Right. Markiplier's main role in mainstream TV so far is cartoon bears that grunt. So I would say, due to the interaction of people like Brie Larson with this, there is a sharing of this creative space. And the people that work in Hollywood aren't so far off from some of it, depending on the level they're at, right? Actors toil and shit in creative spaces. So, I understand why they would also want to express themselves on YouTube, and they do a good job. Brie Larson's videos, I understand why they have viewers. They're cute little things. They're little vlogs. I don't watch any of them. I don't care, but, I'm watching a movie. I watch actors. When I watch Twitch people. Yeah, I know, right? We're not the same, but we have there is such a difference in producing a fucking movie like that and doing a little Armored Skeptic video, I don't know. I don't know why he thinks he's on that level either.
Those of us who gave YouTube its name and made it what it is today. It's almost as if people like Will Smith are endorsing us by endorsing this site. But because of this, YouTube is not what it used to be. Google does not reward creators the way that it used to, and it doesn't allow people to gain success in the same organic way. Before, if you had lots of views, people would subscribe, and more subscribers translated into more views.
True.
People voted for the success of a creator by engaging with their channel.
I do think that's entirely fucked up. The subscription thing actually used to mean that you would get it in your feed, and it would be very likely that you watched it. But he's booming out at this point. He's just back in my day. Well, it's not your day anymore. We gotta move on. So if you can't keep making videos like this, maybe you just can't keep making videos like this. It's okay. I was telling Sarah earlier, I was like, some days I fantasize about just making pizzas. I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. But then I think of my ankle and how much it hurts. And I don't want that either. So we're gonna do the thing where we just ride this forever. Subscribe immediately, chat. Be my rich uncle. I will give you pizza. In fact, I was thinking it would be really fun to do a Pride pizza thing. Okay, I am wondering if I was inspired by Ren Fair. There was a guy making pizzas there, and they banged the fuck out. But like, all you need is to be able to get a pizza oven, and you could do like a little pizza thing at Pride. Like you could rent a spot. It would take some time, but like a food truck, almost. Ghost Dad, thank you so much. 5 of them. Get one to Trash Rat. Maybe I can thread the needle, you know. Hazy, Mr. Mystery, Runsmuns, Karak. Can I have some pizza? Yeah. Uncle Jake, can you buy us pizza? Pride pizza. Ghost Dad, thank you so much. Work at a supermarket handling if I could afford my place. So this is what I'm talking. Like, I don't think most people understand that. Like, the work. Let's rant a little bit about how the capitalism. I don't think people understand, especially right-wing people. They have all this like capitalist ambition, but I feel like a lot of people would be very content with a simple job if their needs were met. There's a lot of people that don't need to do a ton of shit. They can stock lettuce in the produce section. They can work at a deli. They can garden. They can, clean the fucking community. They can take care of kids, daycare shit. They could go be teachers. There's all sorts of stuff people can do. But we don't need everybody to be doing all this stuff. We really don't need every single person to labor constantly. Probably everyone needs to labor a little bit every day. Like someone needs to cook a meal. Someone needs to clean the house. But like, man, need some stuff to get society going. I don't know. Anyway, YouTubers is a great example of how we don't really need people to make direct contributions to society in a way that helps, like materially, because entertainment is good and we like it within one another. We like to entertain each other. We like to commune in this way. We like to, like in this chat, for instance, you and I share a lot of similar beliefs and ideas about stuff, and we get to feel that, like, holy shit, we're not crazy. This world is fucking crazy, though. Dude, if I could work 20 hours a week doing manual labor while also making music and following my passion, I'd be the happiest fucking bitch. True. Here, that wasn't allowed, but I'll allow it. And then some people are Markipliers. Yeah. Absolutely.
Engaging with their content. But now the algorithms ignore the classic symbols of success in favor for engineering a specific image for the desired YouTube brand. Getting consistently high views on videos no longer translates into gaining large subscriber counts. And similarly, having a lot of subscribers doesn't automatically translate into getting a lot of views. YouTube is not for you anymore. YouTube is not about you. YouTube is about making money and promoting specific types of creators and creating a perception about what is acceptable and what should be seen as successful on YouTube.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. I mean, there's people that live outside this, but also there's people that just make quality content. It's really about the quality of content mixed with manipulating the algo. Sometimes people do both. But, like, there's not people that always hammer the algorithm. ContraPoints is a great example of this. H-Bomber guy is a great example of this. Sometimes they can do, like, just they upload the video and it comes out. There's some people that can have middling ecosystems, and that's good too. A lot of people have switched over to streaming, for instance. I like this content a lot better. I personally have always liked the live content. I am a person that likes to be uncut and raw. I think it's more fascinating to have real conversations, I suppose. An amazing video on work, if you'd like. Ooh, thank you. Yeah, put that in the trash section, Gorgon, in the Discord, if you will. Appreciate that. Jose was a small channel, and all his videos blow up to like 501 mil. Yeah, Jose's great too.
God, in my case, they've been actively removing followers from my channels for years now. Pretty much consistently deleting 2,000 followers per month in an attempt to kill my channel.
It's tough. Yeah. Half sack, no, Greg, we left. That was me. I left. Damn. I think a lot of people probably did leave, though. Yeah.
So I can tell you from my own firsthand experience, YouTube isn't just burying some channels, it's actively trying to remove them and disincentivize them from continuing to do their work. Sometimes I would gain back a few subscribers if I made a successful video, only to have Google delete 2,000 more people the next month like clockwork. And
just delete 2,000 people, huh? All right, man. I mean, that would be 24. I mean, I guess he's saying that he gained some, too. As a person who straight up unsubscribed. Yeah, I feel like some... Generally forgot I once had a sub degree. I think I also unsubscribed, by the way. I actually think I did unsubscribe. I may subscribe on a different channel, though. I don't know. Unsubscribed recently. You might just talk... Yeah.
By aping my channel this way, they're essentially telling the algorithm not to recommend my work anymore. Normally, a YouTuber would get a 50-50 split between subscribers and new viewers on a video. Now, only about 10 to 20% of my views come from non-subscribers. My YouTube analytics are...
That's true. This is true. Most subscribers will watch longer. You know? Male doesn't, 92% male doesn't help him. Yeah. So, I mean, I just think, so I agree with him to some extent. This is true, okay? It's not the only reason this is happening. You're also being suppressed because your channel is losing subscribers. Like at the same time. That's a thing. Yeah. Watch time from subscribers. Subscribe, not subscribe. Yeah. So this means, so watch time is from the point you start the video to the time you end the video. So subscribers are more likely to watch your whole video and not just click through because they know who you are. So that's going to add to your watch time. So this isn't necessarily the number of people. This is watch time, you know. So this is a measurement of that. But also, more people who are subscribed to you get to see your video. But also, he's right in that they don't push it to non-subscribers enough. But he's also wrong because, like, this isn't the right thing to show us to show that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, there's other YouTube analytics that you can look at to show what he's talking about. That again, I believe he is correct about.
Basically admitting,
but he's like not totally correct because he's like not. I mean, his content isn't good.
They don't recommend my videos. So if you want to accuse me of being biased in this video, and my motivation for making this is that I'm angry, that's fine. I'm not going to waste any energy denying that. I have to admit here that I have fallen on hard times. It's becoming increasingly more and more difficult every month to come up with enough money for my rent and my groceries. So please consider supporting my Patreon, becoming a channel member, using the super thanks button in the comment section, throwing me a contribution to my PayPal, or even buying a t-shirt or a sticker from my merch store. The links for all of that are in the description. Any little bit helps. I thank you so much for your support. But for a time,
but yeah, so that happens from time to time. It's partially your content, it's partially just the algo. That's rough. It happens. I hate capitalism too. I wish that you could just pursue your passions without the need for, you know, your survival necessities being on the line. I think that's fucking stupid. You should be, you know, I think the money that we make should go towards desires, not needs, for at least as much as we absolutely can. And so I think it's fucked up, but man, this ain't the whole reason. This ain't the whole reason, man. Yeah, this was bound to end someday.
I was successful here. I lived a modestly comfortable life for about 5 years because of my viewership, so I usually never felt any pressure to make videos consistently. My main focus was just on being funny and being entertaining. And because YouTube incentivized me to make content that would make my audience happy, that was always a consideration of mine. Part of the reason my content is so different now is because I'm not thinking about making my audience happy. I'm making what makes me happy. I'm trying to expose all the that I don't like in the world, and because I see myself as failing, I'm trying to go down swinging.
This is... Did he go to therapy? Or is this just what conclusion he's come to? Like, yeah, I think this is exactly what kind of... I also feel like this is the reaction. I feel like, yeah. He's always been a little insecure about this kind of stuff. And he he made a big deal about when we were both our channels got like 50,000 subscribers, so he made a big deal about that. I was like, that's rude, man. We were like celebrating it, and he was like kind of shitty about it. I was like, okay. Sure, man. We made a joke about it at the time. It just was like, it was not the vibe we were going for, but whatever. So he's saying he's being serious then. Yes. He's exposing the lies.
And because my motivations have changed so much, I recently started to notice that a lot of creators whom are the most successful on YouTube end up doing more work after they've achieved success. Instead of settling into a specific production schedule and getting comfortable, they stretch themselves out thinner and thinner. Creators whom are making more and more money and gaining more and more fame don't slow down to rest to enjoy their easy life. Yeah, instead, they build more channels. They create more platforms. They spend more time performing for live stream audiences, themselves out for more likes.
Okay, man, holy shit, I can't believe it. He's going to get me to take a position that's different from. Okay, so I obviously think that this sucks, and I'm very cynical about the way that this works. Like producing content, promoting your fucking self all the time, like everything's, people do clickbait and shit. I fucking hate that shit. I absolutely disagree that I have a distaste for it. However, I can also acknowledge that because I refuse to engage with that I'm going to limit myself financially. So I have to make other decisions, right? Like, I have decided on a Monday through Friday schedule. Not that I want to every single day Monday through Friday stream at the same exact time. Although right now I was really excited to stream today, actually. But like some days you're just like, yeah, I kind of feel like shit. But I'm going to be honest. This is 100% true. I'm not just kissing your ass. And Sarah's told me this before, and she's right. Sometimes I'm feeling a little like, man, I just don't feel like it today. I feel like I'm going to be like not fun or whatever. And they come to have a good time. And she's like, but every time you go on, you have a good time. And because chat, you guys are fun, and when you have like energy and stuff, it gives me energy, and so I like that. Because I'm a little social butterfly. Sometimes I want to be a social worm. Yeah, bringing the vibe. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like sometimes I don't feel like I'm gonna bring a good vibe, but you guys help it. So I appreciate your efforts in that. You are the community, after all. Worm boys, let's go. Anyway, so part of this is. You're 100% right about why this industry sucks. It's a little fucking vapid. It's a lot vapid. And if you play the game correctly and be a fake little bitch, you'll make lots of money. 100% true. Yeah. There are people who literally just spend their time gaming the algo. I follow a guy on Twitch, on Twitter, who does that. His whole thing is just he flips channels and makes them bunches of money. And the things he does, it's just like soul sucking stuff, man. I was gonna say soul fucking. It also fucks your soul.
More views for more individual donations and super chats.
The culture of this space is unique in a positive way. Yeah, I agree. I think so too.
Why? Is it greed? For the longest time, I assumed this was an ego thing. People who are addicted to money want more money. People who are addicted to fame want more fame. Mm-hmm. That made sense to me at first, but I've come to the realization that some of the largest and most popular creators on the platform are not choosing how to spend their time here.
Unrelated footage of
They're being told what to create and how much to create. They're given...
Oh, fuck. Okay. All right. The first example he's giving, this is unrelated, he says. The first example he gives is Ethan Klein. Please don't tell me, please, that this has anything to do with Ethan Klein being a Jewish man. Because now that you're in the conspiracy bubble, I am very suspicious of this. I am not accusing you, Greg. I am just asking, just as a friend, just as a guy, a pal, a long lost pal. We've had disagreements in the past. This isn't because of that, right? You just think he's like a grifter, though? I don't think so. I think Ethan's content has gotten better over the years.
Orders or strong suggestions and are being directed by outside influences to perform a specific way for their audiences. Some of these guys are even reading scripts that have been written for them. They're not even choosing what to say on their own channel.
Dave is trying to sleep his way to a Stream Chicken win. $1. Yeah, he sure is. Splash with the corn whales, Chado. Are you trying to start something?
YouTube is filled
Ethan has
with
surpassed Hassan in good takes.
Manufactured artificial celebrities that aren't creating what they want. They've become a mouthpiece for some sort of corporate interest or the mainstream agenda. A lot of these characters even seem to start off organically. They appear to be normal people creating what they love at first, but then one day they begin to act like a bizarre industry shill. They would cut their teeth on being a contrarian, but then one day start defending mainstream narratives. Creators whom seem to throw away their unique personality traits, stubborn opinions, and established principles, and
what principle?
Start peddling popular ideas on their channel like they're an employee of a large network.
What? I think Greg is just jelly, says Henry. Yeah. Okay, so wait. You think that Ethan becoming more openly left-wing politically is because he's a Hollywood shill? That's so fucking stupid, Greg. Oh man, that's really, really dumb. He's gonna say this is unrelated footage of H3. Right? He's gonna stay with that. Hassan catching strays? I don't think he's catching strays. I think this is towards Hassan.
Creators that have been compromised, hijacked by the entertainment industry or some sort of corporate interest.
He lives in LA and invited celebrities onto his show because he wants to make money. What? Yes. Why are we mad at Ethan Klein? Dude, he did podcast stuff. He made content people wanted to watch. I actually don't think this is fucking weird at all. He was one of the most organic YouTube to LA guys that you ever saw. Greg discovers what a podcast is. This is so stupid.
Or perhaps they've sold out in order to gain legitimacy in the entertainment industry. And I think that there have been creators like that on this platform for years.
I think he's a good podcast host.
I believe that if a Donald Glover type were to suddenly become famous on YouTube today, instead of getting whisked off to Hollywood to become a star on a television show, now someone from the entertainment industry would come to him and start demanding that he conduct himself a specific way on his channel. But there are different levels of selling out, and there are lots of different kinds of incentives for a creator to want to capitulate to the entertainment industry.
Sexy Jason Willems, fucking white chocolate shirt. I see that.
Or to behave like a shill for the mainstream. A few years ago, Hollywood started this new trend of inviting specific blog writers, podcasters, and online personalities to certain events and even pre-screenings for films.
Are you going to talk about the MTV thing?
And in return, these writers, podcasters, and creators were expected to write favorable, positive reviews for these films.
Yeah, bro, this is holy shit, man. This is such a classic Hollywood move. Puff pieces. Come on, bro.
And hype them up and promote them to their respective audiences. Red Letter Media has spent a lot of time talking about this sort of agreement between online personalities and the entertainment industry, and even created a satire series called The Nerd Crew, where they demonstrate what this kind of relationship would look like from the creator side.
Oh, I just want to note, these swag bags are not cheap.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, they are filled with toys and promotional materials that sometimes can be valued at, up to $20.
Right. Actually, the Sony executive who gave me the replacement swag bag, he actually shoved me up against the table and put his hand over my mouth, and he said, "You better give this movie a good review. My career is riding on this, you fat, pudgy f***."
This is one of those open secrets that everyone knows about. Some online personalities don't even show shame over this practice, and they've treated their favorable promotion of specific IPs as a grind, as a job that they perform specifically in order to get treated like special VIPs at these industry events.
I just don't know how to describe capitalism to you another way. This is how capitalism works. absolutely how it works. There's lots of nepotism involved, lots of favors, lots of personal things. There's lots of reasons people have money for no fucking reason. Absolutely how it works. I'm not watching RLM's new Junka video because of Jake. High praise. Fuck yeah, half sack. Appreciate it.
I think the most infamous...
They were fans of TBR, by the way.
...example is Christian Harloff from the Schmo...
At least Richard Evans was, right?
Who knows? He had a meltdown on the Collider podcast because he wasn't invited to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue with anyone in this room that it comes from a place of being butthurt.
Okay. So you're like a sad nerd right now.
So when the comments come in and go, oh, get over it. Maybe I should. Guess not. But guess what? I'm not. I've been busting my ass being a Star Wars fan for 5 years.
I feel the same way about DC when things happen. I get it.
And so my thing is too. I've been called shill. I get screamed at. So let this one. Let me be a shill for this one. Let me go and experience this thing.
People like this do not create commentary about media to their audience because they have a strong opinion or a unique perspective. They literally see supporting corporations like Disney as a job for which they deserve to be rewarded with special treatment.
Bro, you should be a leftist. This would be cleared up for you in a second. You'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, this all makes sense now. And then it would be over. You wouldn't have to be wacky.
This is a shill. He's saying the quiet part out loud. He may be the only idiot dumb enough to admit it, but there are hundreds of these guys. After they purchased Star Wars and Marvel, Disney appeared to covertly influence a lot of creators to hype up their IPs in this way. During that time, it started to become extremely obvious just how much influence the entertainment industry has over...
We'll give you money to review our thing and show and tell your audience about our thing. This is called advertisement. This is known forever. This is a sponsorship. This is a normal thing. This happens all the time. This is how capitalism works. I agree. This is what brand building means. Cross-promoting. This is part of their marketing budget. Yeah, man. They give a random creator $1,000 instead of a TV network, you know, $1 million to run ads for a month on their platform or whatever. You're like, yeah, man.
For individual creators like this, with all of the people giving unwaveringly positive reviews on audience-dividing films, even full-on demonizing people who dislike certain films, like The Last Jedi, I started to wonder...
Well, so I'm not paid to have that opinion. Like, I think The Last Jedi has problems because of the third movie that could have been solved, and it's not like 100% good, but it's a pretty good movie, man. And like, Canto Bight sucked, but like, the rest of the movie's good. You're just a butthurt man about it. It's so weird how this is still a topic.
Just how deep this phenomenon of artificial media commentators went. When you go on television or read a newspaper or a magazine, you expect industry shills to give milquetoast opinions and hype up Disney films as masterpieces because those are mainstream outlets. But here on the internet, you used to get contrarian or nuanced opinions that contradicted the mainstream opinion. But somehow that has changed.
Brother, I do not, like, what? I disagree. There's constant arguing all the time. What are you talking about?
Somehow, the internet just became an extension of mainstream opinions with covert industry shills. I got thinking about this while watching Patrick H. Willems, movie reviewer and entertainment commentator. He's been on YouTube forever and has content going back 12 years. Patrick has a lot of really good content and unique perspectives on entertainment and regularly creates extremely insightful and informative videos. 90% of the time, his videos are great. People like him have created a high standard for YouTubers. I've watched dozens of videos from Patrick over the last decade, and I never spent much time thinking about what goes on behind the scenes of his channel. I just assumed that he was a passionate filmmaker and movie lover with a desire to share his love for cinema. That is, until the
the vocal fry on cinema. He's such a baddie, dude. He knows so much about movies. He's just a movie buff. He knows about cinema.
Disney's Star Wars controversy that happened between the making of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi and J.J. Abrams' The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I don't want to accuse Patrick of being a literal sellout or an industry plant, but there have been a couple of times where Patrick has come off as a full-on shill. Patrick's entire shtick is, "You're watching movies wrong." That's basically his tagline on IMDb. The reason I'm choosing Patrick as my target here is because because he actively leans into the internet villain persona and invites this kind of reaction by telling his audience to shut up and that they are watching movies incorrectly. So I figure because he's intentionally inflammatory, that he of all people on YouTube can handle being the target of this demonstration. Patrick's review and defense of The Last Jedi
he can handle it. So now it sounds like he wants to get this guy's attention. You know? Patrick doesn't do this. I mean, I've watched like maybe one or two of these videos on the couch, and maybe also was looking at my phone at the same time. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't think they were bad though. I thought they were good.
Became quite infamous across the internet.
If you are a person who thinks that SJWs or diversity or feminism ruined this movie, or if you're going to tell me that I'm a Disney shill, or if you think I should kill myself because I like the movie...
Do people really care that much about Star Wars?
Yeah, Mom, they really do. But everyone should just remember, this is a film about space wizards intended for children. I'm not saying you shouldn't take it seriously, just maybe don't get too angry about it. We're not talking about gun control here. We're talking about a movie about space wizards intended for children.
This screenshot of Patrick holding up a sign condescendingly telling people who hate the film that they're getting angry at a story about space wizards intended for children.
Uh-oh. It's about Star Wars again, guys. He got almost 20 minutes into his 45-minute long rant before talking about Star Wars. This is like, I think the last 4 out of 5 videos have been about Star Wars. Yeah.
Went viral. Now, I hated The Last Jedi as much as the next guy, but I agree with Patrick's general sentiment here that it's not worth getting too angry about Star Wars.
But Greg's really mad about Star Wars. Did you see the last video? He's essentially like, oh, she ruined movies forever.
Star Wars was sacrificed on the holy altar in front of everyone, and his beating heart was pulled out, and we just watched it beat and slowly stop right on screen.
And he's also right that wokeness, diversity, and feminism are not the problem with The Last Jedi. The problem is with the framing of his video. He created a perception that he believes getting angry at Star Wars was beneath him, and that made people angry with him, because this was seen as a blanket insult towards critics of The Last Jedi.
No. It's about just how angry you're getting, not that you have a disagreement.
Was a subject to which everyone was already sensitive. There was a bizarre demonization of any critic of The Last Jedi that was rampant online at the time, and it appeared as if Patrick was...
Dude, no, why is he pretending like he was normal about this movie? He was way too emotional about this. I walked out of this and went like, damn, that was good, I had fun. And then the internet was mad. The quartering was very mad. I didn't know why.
Joining in on that demonization of critics of The Last Jedi.
I straight up think this is cap as fuck, Greg, and you made those videos because you were making anti-SJW content with your girlfriend. You fucking... What do you mean? You fucking shill. You shut up. You have this opinion because you dug in back then. Dumb.
Now, you can love The Last Jedi, you can hate The Last Jedi, I don't care. This isn't about opinions of films. I don't care what your opinion is. This is about principles.
Principles!
It's about consistency and a demonstration of self-awareness. Because only a couple of years later, when the final film in the sequel trilogy was released, J.J. Abrams' The Rise of Skywalker, Patrick seemed to completely forget that this was the position that he had taken a couple...
J.J. Abrams, how fucking dare you? What did he say in response?
The Rise of Skywalker. Patrick seemed...
Not what I fucking said, dummy. I appreciate the disdain. Here's this tweet.
Seemed to completely forget that this was the position that he had taken a couple of years earlier,
and
he posted this on Twitter.
Yeah, that seems like a joke, yeah.
J.J. Abrams, how dare you? Yeah. Clearly demonstrating anger over a film about space wizards.
Uh-oh.
designed for children. Back then, I pointed this out in my Rise of Skywalker review because I was so confused how he could show such a blatant contradiction. Did he forget? Well, the funny thing was, Patrick wasn't the only reviewer that did this flip-flop between the two films. Patrick was not the only reviewer that demonized critics of the one and then became a critic of the other. But how could...
So I liked what Canto Bight was trying to show. It was the horse race that was bad, for the record.
Patrick,
like, that whole sequence isn't bad. It's like that they're there is kind of weird. But I don't hate what they're showing. I think maybe it should have been different characters. Maybe, I don't know. I think Rian Johnson would agree that was not what they needed, but I think maybe he was forced to include animals or something. Could be wrong.
Fail to display any kind of principles. Why was he not displaying any kind of conviction? This is illogical. How does this happen? Was he just a Rian Johnson fanboy willing to say whatever it took?
He's very confused about this joke.
Defend The Last Jedi?
He's awake? No, he's not. Lies. Lies and deceit. He's grumbling. He's just grumbling. Jay's getting a call. Am I not live enough? Am I not live enough? Refresh? No, I'm here now. He stirred from a phone call? Oh. Oof. That's apnea. Is that close.
Don't count your jokes.
Who's calling his ass? Anyway. So he's sleeping. All right. Back to this.
Is Patrick just a big fat liar? The thing is, he is right about a lot of the points that he makes in his Last Jedi review. And I mostly agree with him that the film is not nearly as bad as people say that it is. And I agree that it's definitely not worth getting angry about.
Star Wars was sacrificed on the holy altar.
And he's right that diversity, feminism, and wokeness are not to blame for the destruction of Star Wars. The problem with The Last Jedi is meaningless sequences and diluted storylines, broken characters, and unresolved tensions. He did make one really good point that I liked.
Watching rich people get their shit destroyed is one of the purest pleasures in all of cinema, and if you can't appreciate that, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I get off on that. And I know I said this before, but the problem I have...
Why did he say it like that? Hell yeah, Doodleburb, congrats! Hey, Cobby's in chat for Doodleburb getting partnered. Partner! Nice! Don't let them fuck you. Tell them to shut up. But, hell yeah. Need a little check. Let's fucking go. Doodleburb. A little corn cob turned into a big, thick, flying cob. A very talented one as well.
With this sequence is that Finn and Rose are saving dog horses when they should be saving slave children. But they just leave the slave children. Like, what the hell is that?
I don't
did they know about the slave children? I don't even remember.
Care who that kid with the broom is. It doesn't matter. What I do care about is the hope and determination I see in his eyes.
I know I did that bit about hating The Last Jedi, but all these years later, I don't really hate the film. Rise of Skywalker...
What the fuck? You just made a video about it. You just made a video.
Is a genuinely worse movie. The Last Jedi has a lot of good to offer. For example, I love everything that happens on the island with Luke and Rey. Mark Hamill was wrong.
I said to Ryan, I said, Jedis don't give up. I mean, even if he had a problem, he would maybe take a year to try and regroup. But if he made a mistake, he would try and right that wrong. Luke would never say that. I'm sorry. Well, in this version, see, I'm talking about the George Lucas Star Wars. This is the next generation of Star Wars. So I almost had to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker.
The problem that
Luke Skywalker spends the trilogy like bitching. Like he's really, really whiny until like he's cool. And then he's just so cool. But like then he cries a lot. I don't know, like I think you could beat down Luke Skywalker. I think maybe Mark Hamill needs to understand that sometimes your character needs to go through an arc. Yeah. He also is genocide supporter, so fuck Mark. Oh yeah, whoops. Wait, is he? He's doing the Israel stuff, isn't he? I don't think I follow Mark Hamill. Maybe I do. Anyway, I think Luke feeling tremendous guilt about failing his nephew could drive him to something like that. That makes sense. I think it's interesting.
What I have with this video is not that Patrick is right or wrong about his points. The problem that I have here is that he admits that he's only making this video because people are angry about The Last Jedi.
Usually I'm here to talk about movies I think are underrated, that don't get the attention they deserve, but this one is different. I want to talk about the biggest movie of 2017, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, because for some reason, a whole lot of people don't like this movie. A lot of people are really angry about it.
He's admitting here that his entire motivation for
someone should figure out how to get Dave to watch me live, so the people there can have some entertainment. He didn't even let it play. At least, tough.
For making this video was to step in front of the wave of haters and tell them that they're wrong. Yeah. And he entirely broke format on his channel to do this. Why? Well, a couple of years ago, I found another video of Patrick's where he appears to display a complete lack of principles, titled Shut Up About Plot Holes. While watching this video, it started to dawn on me that Patrick may not have defended The Last Jedi in this overtly inflammatory way because he had a passionate disdain for people who get angry at Star Wars. But he may have made these statements because he was asked by a studio to make a video defending the film and demonizing people who get angry about it. He may have been asked to fulfill an agenda to deflect hatred for The Last Jedi. I realize that it's totally unfair of me to accuse him of being a shill like this when I have no direct proof. Again, I'm just using Patrick as a demonstration of what a shill looks like.
It's crazy. Like, I just don't think he got paid by Disney to say the words he said on that. Well, I think he just made the video, man. Why do you, like, he can have this opinion. He has the right opinion on this. It's crazy that he can't rationalize why someone would be just have a different opinion on this particular topic. Something so truly subjective. Like, you can be befuddled about, like, how does a racist happen? How do you create someone so hateful for no reason? But I could understand why someone wasn't good and didn't have good media literacy when watching and hating a Star Wars movie.
In fact, he refutes that claim in his Last Jedi review. But wait until you see what I mean here.
Strange.
This plot holes video makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
Okay, guys, we gotta talk about that. Plot holes used to be this thing that only existed in super nerdy movie conversations. Like, hey, how did Indiana Jones survive clinging to the outside of that submarine? But over the past 15 years, they've become pervasive, spreading through online movie conversations. Everywhere you turn, people are complaining about...
Again, Patrick does make a handful of really good points in this video, like the fact that a lot of the time when people complain about plot holes, they're really complaining about plot contrivances, or about characters making a decision that they themselves wouldn't make.
No one seems to actually know what a plot hole is. And all those plot holes people complain about, they don't actually matter. What is a plot hole? People's definitions vary, but here's the generally accepted one that I use. A plot hole is a point in which a story breaks a previously established rule about its own universe. Basically, it's when a story contradicts itself.
But overall, he completely misses the entire point people try to make about plot holes ruining their film watching experience. And often, he shows a misunderstanding of what plot holes even are, and fails to remain consistent with his arguments.
It is awesome.
The point of this video is to highlight things that aren't really plot holes, but confusingly throughout this presentation, he regularly uses examples of legitimate plot holes, then dismisses them?
So here's what are not plot holes.
The Dark Knight Rises, we never see how Batman gets back to Gotham City. That's a plot hole.
See, that's an actual plot hole. But instead of
What? It isn't actually a plot hole. That's Okay, so the audience can just understand that he got there by how you film it. No one was confused about that. It would be a in Dark Knight Rises, we never see Batman piss. Plot hole. True. We don't see Batman take a shit on screen. Plot hole. Do you think Batman has shit during a night at a bad time? Do you think Batman has ever had to... He saw a crime happening, but he also had a shit coming? It was like, well, am I shitting in the bat suit, or is her purse getting stolen? Bat diarrhea.
Exploring it, he condescendingly explains how films are presented to an audience?
One of the earliest cinematic developments was the concept of montage. The idea is that when two images are presented in sequence, the audience understands that they occur chronologically and will mentally fill in the time between scenes.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if a person is in one location and the next scene they're in another location, we understand...
That's called a matte shot. Well, that was not really a full matte shot, but you know what I mean. He's walking in both scenes.
In between scenes, they traveled between the locations. Movies tend to assume that the audience is reasonably intelligent. But I guess they're wrong. If movies showed us every single second that happened during the span of the story, they would be 40 hours long and really...
Is he just going to say that he needs to see it because it happened? He's like, well, he got out of there. How'd he get there? So part of the reason they don't show you how they got there is so you can, there's mystery to, well, he got out of this crazy prison. You know? And how did he get out? What was in between that? That's just good storytelling, in my opinion. And I have problems with that movie. And that's not one of them.
See, the thing is, this is a real plot hole in Dark Knight Rises because the film goes out of its way to explain to the audience that it's impossible for people to get from the island to the mainland and back. All of the bridges have been destroyed, and there are supposed to be guards set up everywhere to stop people from migrating across the river.
He's Batman? So you wanted an establishing shot with him using his grappling hook on a bridge? He's Batman. How does he traverse through Gotham without bridges? Batman, you say? With the bridges? Batman waiting in traffic to use one of the bridges? Fucking, I don't know, dog. How do people traverse rivers when there's no bridges? Who knows? It's mystifying to this guy. This is why he thinks there's a battery in the fucking pyramids. He's like, well, rivers, I mean, it's essentially vampire rules. Once you see a river, you can't walk past. You can't go through that. It's a river. He's Batman, man.
When Batman gets exiled out of the city, the implication...
He doesn't have his tools? You don't think Batman has tools? Let's see that scene. Okay, so have you played the Batman games? Do you think that Batman, Bruce Wayne, doesn't have a contingency on this part of the fucking Gotham City to get here? It's Batman, guys. We don't have to talk about this. We don't have to talk about this. He's Batman.
To stop people from
Batman
migrating.
looking through his cup holder for the correct change to pay the bridge toll, drops several quarters, swears in Christian Bale voice.
Across the river. When Batman gets exiled out of the city, the implication is that it shouldn't be possible for him to get back. And when Batman escaped the prison and started making his way back to Gotham, I think most of us were expecting a cool sequence explaining how he got across. So when the film just reveals that he's suddenly back in Gotham and does...
Yeah, because we were like, you're expecting that scene and hoping it's going to take him time, and then nope, he's there at when we need him because he's Batman.
Doesn't even
we need a scene on with the Batboat. We need a for them to be satisfied. He used a plane. We've seen him use planes prior in the movie and boats and stuff, but now we need to see him. It's just crazy, guys. It's crazy that you need this. This is not a plot hole.
The rest of the issue, it's
Batman.
Extremely dissatisfying.
This is the third movie.
And it
do you do this shit when Tony Stark just shows up somewhere? In one of the Marvel movies, you guys like plot hole. Tony Stark's there. How'd he get there? No, because you're like, oh, he's Tony Stark. He can get there. Dumbass. Dumb. If you've bought into this, you need to reevaluate how you fucking think about stuff. It's Batman, guys. If you told me Batman has a contingency that involves to time travel, I'd believe it. It's Batman. Yeah.
Breaks immersion. Yes, he's Batman. He can do anything. But in a film about Batman,
doesn't break immersion. He maybe walked across the ice there.
Shouldn't be taking for granted that Batman can just break the rules of the universe without showing us how he's doing that. That's
not the rules of the universe, man. He literally just did it.
Kind of the point of Batman. He does things other people can't do, but we usually get to see those things.
I haven't watched this movie in a long time.
It seemed like an obvious setup to show us a cool sequence about how he broke back into Gotham. Why set it up that way if that's not what you're gonna do? I hate this because Dark Knight Rises is legitimately the worst example of a plot hole in modern cinema. The problem is not that it happens off screen. The problem is the film told us it shouldn't be able to happen. This reminds me of J.J. Abrams' The Rise of Skywalker, where the film makes a point about the Resistance being completely alone.
The movie didn't say that he couldn't traverse the land around. They said they couldn't get out of the prison. I don't know, man. He got off the island. We can, if you want a movie about him getting off the island, you can do that. I don't care, man. So stupid.
Alone in the universe? Nobody else in the whole galaxy is willing to help them. They say it at the end of Last Jedi and at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker to remind us that nobody's going to help the Resistance.
That's right.
Then Lando goes off screen and comes back with an entire fleet of ships from across the galaxy.
Yeah. It's a twist. It didn't really work. They hadn't earned it in the movie. But this is how it probably should have... Like, the movie was going to end with people coming together and rising up over, like, that was how it was always going to end. That's not the problem with it. The problem is that it was poor storytelling because J.J. Abrams, like, literally you freaked out about this movie, the movie before this, and then Disney heard that shit. Literally you were part of it, and then they had J.J. Abrams do this movie. It was your problem.
No explanation how that happened. Totally broke the setup for this scene. And it's a double plot hole because the film also makes a point that you're not supposed to be able to get to this section of space without a specific wayfinder. It's impossible to navigate there without this Sith holocron. So the film also sets up that this fleet shouldn't have been able to make it there at all. Yet he just magically shows up with an entire fleet of ships. Sure, you might be able to make the argument that in The Dark Knight Rises when Batman...
We're going to The Dark Knight Rises already? They sent out a signal. Aren't they trying to do the signal the whole fucking time? That's the whole sequence. But I don't even care. Like, that movie sucks. I don't give a shit, you know? Who gives a shit? Wow. We have the fucking... the whole ass Dave video in here of him falling. I thought this video was about YouTube shills. No, he's talking about Star Wars now. I told you. 18 minutes in, he was done with that shit.
Breaks out of the prison and then he appears in Gotham, that is Montage. But
He's
Rise of
just not
Skywalker,
talking about
that's
that
not
anymore,
Montage
man.
at all. They don't even allude that Lando is going to do this. At least in Dark Knight Rises, we knew that Batman was trying to make it back to Gotham. At another point in the video, Patrick uses Alien as an example of a plot hole that we should dismiss.
In Alien, if the acid can melt through the floor, why doesn't it melt through the entire ship?
But Patrick, this is explained in the film. I mean, this is explained in the very scene that we're literally watching right now. In this exact shot that you use, a character says, "This is going to eat through the hull." And then the group chases the acid hole down several decks until it eventually dies off. And Ripley says, "It looks like it's stopping." The film shows us how the acid works. This is an example of a film explaining to the audience the rules of the universe. This scene in Alien is an example of exactly how you avoid a plot hole in your film. You explain to the audience how something works, and then you stick with that rule. Near the end of the
just skim the cliff notes of Alien, yeah. But how did it stop, Gerg? How did it stop?
video, Patrick makes a point to mock nerds and nerd culture by intersplicing a clip of Angry Joe's initial reaction to The Last Jedi with a clip of The Simpsons.
The plot holes. Remember the plot holes? So you're trying to tell me the supremacy, Snoke's ship, isn't powerful enough to penetrate the shields?
In episode 2F09, when Ichi plays Scratchy's skeleton like a xylophone, he strikes the same rib twice in succession, yet he produces two clearly different tones.
This is a perfect example of the kind of demonization of critics that I mean. It's so funny that Joe was talking about The Last Jedi. He's nothing if not consistent about that. Yes, he's right. Most internet nerds are not educated in filmmaking and are not the best film critics. So nerds cannot really be expected to create the most meaningful, in-depth film analyses for their YouTube audience. But you, Patrick, are. So you should very easily understand why they're reacting negatively to these story issues, even if they're failing to explain this properly. The problem is that...
This was about how he doesn't make money on YouTube anymore, but now it's about this?
Plot holes destroy tension.
A plot hole is a point in which a story breaks a previously established rule about its own universe. Basically, it's when a story contradicts itself.
See, these are not good faith arguments made with the intention of changing people's minds. This plot hole video does not come off like Patrick came up with all of these arguments while he was thinking about this issue over time, and then one day he decided that he had to make a video about this because he felt passionately that he had to share these thoughts with the world. This video comes off like somebody asked him to make a video diminishing the
That's a conspiracy theory. Greg, that's conspiracy theory. Stop it. You have no evidence to support this at all. Dude. At least he is actually naming this person, but now he thinks that this person is... I thought he said he wasn't going to give any examples. This is pretty wacky, though. You're right. The example you're giving here, you need to have like a better argument. You need to make a compelling argument for this, or it sounds wacky. That's why. Like, it just sounds like he's shilling because he has this opinion. I disagree.
Internet's focus on plot holes, and then he had to scramble to come up with a handful of arguments in a week. This video hits hard. I get it. With the constantly changing locations, the heavy rock music, and the dynamic graphics and text, it gives this video the appearance of being a passion project. The high production value creates a perception of authority. But the multiple locations, though visually interesting and entertaining, also just seem to be haphazardly chosen. A lackluster way of making this video appear more dynamic than it really is. Why is he on a roof? Why is he in an alleyway? What does this mean for the subject of plot holes? Again, they appear to be randomly chosen backdrops that he quickly scrambled together, knowing that he could get access to these locations in his local area. If anything, all of these production elements just serve as a distraction from the fact that Patrick doesn't actually have a good argument in this video.
If you want, you can find plot holes anywhere. They're all over your favorite movies. In Lord of the Rings, the Eagles could have just flown the ring to Mount Doom and saved everyone all that trouble. In Toy Story, why does Buzz freeze like the other toys when he thinks he's a real person? In Ocean's 11, how did they get the flyers into the vault? In Cinderella, why does the glass slipper stay when everything else disappears? In Gremlins, what does after midnight technically mean? Isn't it always after midnight? How does that rule make any sense? In Star Wars, why does the Death Star have a trash compactor when they can just jettison the trash into space?
The worst argument that he makes in this video is,
Take Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. At the climax of the story, Harry reaches the Triwizard Cup, which turns out to have been turned into a port key that transports him to Voldemort. So the villain's whole plan hinged on Harry being the one to get to the cup first and win the tournament. But really, any random object could have been turned into a port key, and they could have sent him to Voldemort way earlier without all that hassle. But that doesn't matter. We're so invested in Harry trying to figure out a way to win, and then so surprised by the reveal of the port key and Voldemort returning, that to pick apart the logic of the villain's plan would mean totally disengaging from the story. This, like so many plot holes, are things that would just destroy any conflict or drama and end the story immediately. I am in no way telling you to turn your brain off or to not think critically about movies. Not at all. I'm saying you should worry about the things that actually matter.
That's not even an argument. What the f are you talking about?
I think I felt like an argument.
We hate plot holes because they ruin the experience. But according to Patrick, we shouldn't hate plot holes because that would ruin the experience? I just, what?
Okay, so he's saying in some situations, like, the plot hole, in some situations, the entertainment, the cool factor outweighs the well, that doesn't make perfect logical sense, but, like, I don't know. I think, like, a villain could have a wonky plan. Maybe his plan isn't perfect. Isn't that why the heroes might win?
That's not even a circular argument. That's like a Mobius strip argument. How do you not get this? This entire video just exists to diminish the perception that modern films are poorly written compared to older films and deflect from frustration about that on the internet. Nerds caught on that films are not as good.
I genuinely do not think that older films are more well written than modern films. Like, there are some real, true, genuinely great films that have come out in modern day that, like, not even close to the quality in the past. Like, what are you talking about? What movies are so good? Star Wars or something? Just Star Wars?
Good as they used to be, and Patrick is like just trying to hide that or something. The thing is, Patrick is correct when he explains that this entire phenomenon of pointing out plot holes in films is a relatively recent development in our culture, and it only exists as a result of the internet.
Why is it that in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, no one really cared about plot holes? They still existed, but no one ever complained a movie was bad because of all the plot holes. So what happened? Basically, the internet. Cracked published the article 8 classic movies that got away with gaping plot holes. There were more forum posts. Then in 2009, the TV Tropes page for Plot Hole was created. In 2010, it really began. Articles on Wired, The Escapist, Den of Geek, and Kotaku. Plot holes had officially crossed over into mainstream nerd culture. Pop culture commentary from a nerdy fan perspective began exploding in popularity. And immediately, the types of videos that proved most popular were humorous analyses of popular movies focusing on surface-level nitpicks. And over the next several years, these types of videos grew in number and popularity.
Most of those old sites that talked about plot holes were just novelty sites. The internet used to be really different, and most outlets just posted BuzzFeed quality stuff for entertainment. These plot hole sites were
Cracked was fucking very popular.
Never really meant to be taken seriously. It was just fun to go through old iconic films and break them down for their contrived stories. Then one day the internet eventually started taking those things seriously. He is right about that.
No one is really to blame for this. Okay, CinemaSins definitely deserves some of the blame, but it's not just them. This is way bigger. This is about cultural shifts coinciding with evolving technology.
The problem here is that even if Patrick is right that this is something that only nerds care about, and it only exists because the internet opened people up to this form of criticism, that doesn't make these criticisms any less valid. That doesn't delegitimize the points that nerds make. This is just a bad argument, and he's really just dismissing it because he sees himself as above nerds.
Why is he like, I'm a nerd, bro? I'm one of the nerds, man. Let me be a nerd. What? Why are we whining about this? This is stupid. Why do you care about this? This is a really dumb video, Greg. More like Gerg today. We're Gerging out.
He's really saying here is only nerds care about this,
Gerging out right
they
now.
are wrong. Like his only point here is that you should not be a nerd. This is not a logical argument. This is just
talking
posturing.
about YouTube
just because you can lay out the timeline of something doesn't mean that you're above it.
He's literally just made a fucking huge video about it. Well, this isn't about a shit. Why don't you just make this video? This is why people don't watch. You're unhinged. You just
Bill and Ebert may have never talked about plot holes in their entire career, but just because they never spent much time thinking about them, that doesn't make plot holes any less frustrating. And that doesn't mean that plot holes never affected their opinions of films. In fact, they would often talk about how frustrating or confusing a story was.
So even though most people are using the term plot hole incorrectly, all of these complaints are rooted in the same thing. But movies aren't about logic. They're not equations. They're not proofs. They're not puzzles. Movies are not math. Die Hard is a movie about an ordinary man thrown into an impossible situation who needs to rise to the occasion and persevere so that he can reunite with his estranged wife. That's the point of the movie. That's what it's about.
He's right here. Films are not about the individual story elements. Films are supposed to be about the characters. But as another YouTuber pointed out, films are also not about the lighting. They're not about the cinematography. Films are not about the sound. But a poorly lit, poorly shot, terrible sounding film is still going to be received poorly by the audience. When creating a film, you have to take into account how an audience is going to receive and experience that film. There are expectations. When we watch a film, we want to be immersed into the story and into the world by putting ourselves in the shoes of a character. And
sometimes that's not the intent of every film. Like, for instance, Skinamarink. I tried to explain Skinamarink to Sarah, who will never watch it because it's spooky. Although I don't think it would scare her necessarily, but maybe it would. I can't tell. I don't feel like it's like it didn't scare me at all. But
It's hard to do that when the story tells us that we can't do something, giving us...
Skinamarink the scariest movie you've ever seen. Really. Some people are totally terrified by that movie. Me? Nothing. Didn't care. I mean, it was fine. Didn't scare me at all. Maybe it'll be spookier on second watch because I understand what's going on a little. Yeah, built different. So, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but like, I just didn't think it was scary. I wasn't bored though. I was interested. See, I think this is just so you just got to be like, okay, so I'm going to watch a movie about liminal spaces. It gave me squirmy vibes. It was a little squirmy for sure. It wasn't like a comfortable movie. Lois and Bram's Lois and Bram might be the cartoon that's on during Skinamarink. You should watch it. It's a spooky movie. Anyway, like that's not about stepping into a character. It's about essentially your poorly pointed security cameras in a room. Well, not really, but it's an interesting movie. Anyway, there's other movies that are like that too, that are totally just not about you stepping into a fucking thing. Like, you ever watch a Wes Anderson film? It's not about stepping in and immersing yourself in a character.
Specific expectations about what should be allowed, and then someone just goes ahead and does that thing anyways without any kind of explanation.
Is it like a bad dream? The clips I've seen make it really surreal. So I think the best way to watch it is to imagine that you are the youngest age that you have ever had memories of. The earliest possible memory you can have. You're that age and watching cartoons or you're in the house with the people in the house. I think it's the best way. Something like that. Like, really set up that vibe in your own house. Sit on the floor so you feel exposed. I don't know. Make yourself uncomfortable. I was too comfy or something. I needed to be more exposed to be scared of that movie. Yeah. I'd be like nearly 4. Yeah, that's about the right age. Yeah. 4. I was probably like 3, 2.5 when I have early memories.
It's not immersive. Specific story elements create tension, and then breaking those rules breaks the tension. And yes, most plot holes are not as big a deal as most nerds say they are. I also agree with that. But there are varying degrees of plot holes. Each individual audience member will react differently to them depending on their own personal immersion to the story, and eventually everyone will have a breaking point where a story becomes so contrived that it just knocks them out of it.
I know it seems impossible to watch movies wrong, but you're watching movies wrong.
Yeah, this is what I mean. You can't just tell somebody that they're wrong for not liking something.
Yeah,
what does it
I actually do think you're wrong for not liking, well, maybe not liking it. I think your criticisms are wrong. How about that? I think you don't have to like anything. It's about, like, the reasons you don't like something. Sometimes they're fucking stupid.
To tell the audience that they're wrong for hating a film. Why does it matter to him at all? Who does this hurt? The reason I keep harping on this is because it doesn't serve the consumer. It serves the studios. Patrick doesn't care about how audiences feel about modern films. He only cares about how this is reflected on the filmmakers. Ultimately, by demonizing audiences for having a negative reaction to a film, this video just hurts the consumer. Both of Patrick's videos that I highlighted here hurt the consumer. Trying to lump all of the haters together into one weird package. There's a clear effort from Hollywood to shout down hatred of films and create a negative perception of critics. And the only benefit of that is to protect the studios by creating a perception that they are infallible.
Movies tend to assume that the audience is reasonably intelligent, but I guess they're wrong.
Our only real power as consumers is to write on forums and to make YouTube videos asking for certain things in films and then complaining online when we don't get what we expect from those films. If we were to take Patrick's advice and shut up about this, we would lose that one little bit of power that we have in our relationship with these products. Hollywood would be very happy if we were to lose our voice.
So look, watch whatever YouTube videos you want, think whatever you want about movies.
Skinamarink got a 4.4 out of 10 online, so now I know it's worth a watch. Weird vibe horror movies that some people think are amazing, but low ratings are the best ones. So, Hereditary is objectively the scariest movie I've ever watched. Like, objectively in my, like, from me. Subjectively, I guess. Subjectively. But I don't think there's a scarier movie out there. Skinamarink is absolutely a love or hate it movie. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see that the votes it got were like 9s and 10s and 8s. You think Midsommar was more unsettling? Would totally disagree. Midsommar was pretty unsettling. But what is Hereditary about? A family. You should just watch it. It's fucking crazy.
Please.
It's like you just do not. You didn't find it scary? Dude, I'm gonna watch it again at some point. If I can talk Sarah into it. Probably not. But I just wanna see if I missed anything. I guarantee I did.
So what was Patrick's motivation for making this video? What about the modern fixation on plot holes made him feel passionate enough to refute the internet's frustration? I mean, Patrick is basically telling his audience that they are wrong for not enjoying films that have broken stories. The issue that I have with both of these videos is not his points, and it's not his opinion, and it's not even his conclusion. The problem that I have with both of these videos is the premise. His desire to get in front of the hate by telling those people that they're wrong for feeling hatred. But in the process, he showed a fundamental misunderstanding of why people feel frustrated with modern films. He doesn't even seem to want to try to relate with the problem or understand people's frustrations.
I think Greg takes this way too personally, man. This is weird. This is a weird video. Yet another weird one from Gerg.
He just wanted to present a negative opinion about an online trend, and it appears as if he's doing it to unwaveringly support the film industry.
Gerg bingo? Ugh. We've watched too many non-bingo. We can't. Not everything can be bingo.
Like a shill.
But it would be a. But process would be on bingo. So now it's over. Okay. So Gerg's video about YouTube shills was actually a video about how he didn't like. I already forgot that guy's name. He didn't like that one reviewer. His video is 45 minutes long. At the 18-minute mark, he started talking about that. So, 27 minutes out of 45. It's like 3 or 4 Star Wars videos almost in a row, man. That's pretty wacky shit. What a long Gerg experience.